At the request of the Greenlandic government, the Salvation Army started work here in 2012. General Linda Bond commissioned Lieutenants Magnus and Petura Haraldsson to establish the ministry in Nuuk, addressing the practical and spiritual needs of the people, particularly the homeless. This quickly outgrew the building originally rented, and a larger facility was opened on a new site, thanks to the generosity of the United States Western Territory of the Salvation Army.
My name is S.Pedersen, and I'm from Denmark and the Denmark-Greenland territory. Well, the thing is, people are people, and we've always worked with people. Even though we do tend to work with vulnerable people and marginalized people, to us it's people. And if I ever have the urge not to do the job of the Salvation Army, there is one line in my covenant saying, "Called to love the unlovable," and I know this is God saying to me, carry on. Here in Nuuk, the average temperature in a year is -1 degree, so it's very hot to be. It's always hot to be homeless, but here it's literally dangerous. The local hostel has only been here for about 10 years now, and it's just a place to sleep, and they are sent out in the morning and can come back late in the afternoon, and that's where the Salvation Army comes in and gives them an opportunity to spend some time. We also have people who sleep rough, living under boats, living in tents. In summertime, a lot of them live in tents. Some find abandoned houses or things like that, and some of them stay up all night because it's dangerous to go to sleep, and then they come to our place in the winter, and we have one room where we have a 2-bed bunk bed, and they go to sleep there and get 3 or 4 hours sleep before they go out again.
I'm Nuuker. I live in Nuuk and work as a driver for 2 different taxi companies around town. Previously, I fell on difficult times and eventually found that I had nowhere to live. My jobs do not provide enough money to pay for rent and bills, so I live underneath an abandoned boat. But this is about to be taken away. The land has been bought and is about to become a new housing development. I can't afford it, so I will soon be homeless. I don't know where I will spend the nights. I'm grateful to be part of the Salvation Army. It's a place of friendship and good food.
There's a lot of people coming, both for our Williams Cafe, as we call it, where we serve food, but also for our services. And people really love to not just sing the songs, but listen to the gospel and to feel the Spirit moving. So we do work together with other groups, some of it more formalized than others, and we have a homeless group people who are volunteering every Wednesday coming in and doing an evening meal for the homeless people. And they do it at our hall because that's where the homeless people will meet.
My name is Steven and I'm heading up a local NGO that's basically in charge of speaking up on behalf of homeless people, and what we do on a weekly basis is that we provide a soup kitchen in collaboration with the Salvation Army, as you see behind me here. On the menu tonight is a very local dish. It's like a seal soup. It's called bui si suasa in Greenland. We are providing a service or just an offer for people that they can just walk in, no matter their condition or where they're from. We don't ask anything about their background. Have some soup, have a laugh, have a talk, and if they're happy with that, we are happy. We try to engage as many as the guests as possible in the cleaning and the maintenance of the house and the preparation of the food and stuff like that. Because I'm a researcher in my daily life. I started out wanting to interview the people behind our organization called No Ini, and they said, well, okay, but wouldn't you also like to volunteer in our organization as well? And I couldn't say no to that, so I ended up heading the organization that I was a part of, basically.
So you just got it there.
I never got the interview. One of the main reasons is a centralization in all the big cities around the Arctic, in Tórshavn, in the Faroe Islands, in Reykjavik, in Iceland, and here in New Greenland, and also in Edmonton, in the northern Inuit settlements in northern Canada. People are sort of crowding into the bigger cities, like the urbanization movement that we saw in Europe a while back, and we're still seeing. So they come to Nuuk, and not all of them have a plan or have an idea, so they stay with local relatives until that sort of idea fades out and they're out on the streets. But we're also seeing a problematic rise of violence towards women, and having a very small amount of shelter space for women. We also see a rise in homelessness among women at the moment, unfortunately. Our little soup kitchen moved from a earlier location to this one, and that just doubled the amount of guests that we see on a weeknight. So yes, we've increased the amount of plates that we hand over the dish. We doubled it. Well, in Greenland, the government sort of just stumbled into this problem, and everything is just homelessness on a general level. What we see in other Arctic communities is a differentiation of what homelessness is. There's hidden homelessness, there is shelter homelessness, there is at-risk homelessness, but there's also different homeless groups among the population. Of course, there's women, elderly, and stuff like that. So differential of the services provided to each of these groups would be a huge win when we're talking social services.
In 2021 we will celebrate the missionary Hans-Edes arrive here to Nuuk. Yeah, and since then we have belonged to the Lutheran Church. Yeah, and it's a city growing very, very fast because many people want to move to Nuuk, and we want to welcome everyone here, but we have a lack of housing. It's the very the biggest challenge, I think, in Nuuk. So yeah, that's why we also have this problem of homelessness, unfortunately. Yeah, we do have people that are not educated, or if they are very little educated. So unemployment, they are often affected by unemployment. So we do make efforts to lift up the competences for these people. And we do have problems in the families, very acute problems, so we have a big social welfare system, as in the Nordic countries. But and we are used to that the public authorities, they do have to help a lot. But things like your Salvation Army is new in Greenland. But I do welcome them so much. And I have visited them, and I feel that everyone is warmly welcomed. There's room for anyone. It's very, very important. And I know eating and cooking together is also very valuable to these people who come there. So they have built a kind of a community between homeless citizens and those who are not. And I think it's very important. I think the whole idea of these voluntary social work is very, very important, because we cannot, as a public authority, solve every problems alone. To me personally, it's very important to see these coming up these years, and I do very much appreciate the very great work they do. When I look back these 5 years you have been here, it's mutually respectful, and we are very much aware, each part of us, which role we play. And the idea and the I don't know if you say willingness, to work together, to cooperate, it is there. So I think to work together, it's perfect.
We also have a good relationship with the state church or the folk church. But yes, it's accepted. Most people do have a Christian background. It's nearly 300 years since Hans Ede arrived in Nuuk, or Godthåb as it was called then, and founded this place and Christianed the whole nation. And today, most people, if not all people in Greenland, have some sort of belonging in a church. That's not to say that everybody has left all the old ways, because there's still quite a lot of dubilaks and things like that. And now it's mostly for tourists and things like that. But as we said when we talked to someone about it, it's like when Joshua said to the people, "Today choose whom you're going to follow. Me and my house will follow the Lord." We find it that it's our job to not to correct people. That's not our job, but to help people to find their way to the true spirit.
As well as a concern for Nuuk's spiritual health, the Salvation Army is increasingly partnering with other agencies to offer support to people with physical health issues.
My name is Michael. I'm a TB nurse. I work in the DANISH hospital here in Nuuk, and I'm the national TB nurse of Greenland. The reason I visit the Salvation Army is that we are currently doing our annual screening of the homeless people for TB, and we have this year found quite a few cases amongst the homeless people. We see a lot of, we sometimes see malnutrition. Of course, it's cold outside. They get respiratory diseases. There's a lot of smoking. They get COPD, asthma, diabetes related to the food and diet. What we are currently working at, we of course examine for TB. We treat them for TB, but we are also trying to get more of the community to work together in regards to TB and a lot of other issues. Like Salvation Army, they've been very helpful, and the shelter as well. We work with them, and we're looking for a lot of co-workers in society. Historically, there's been a lot of TB in Greenland, and it's on the incline again. We see people who live in a very cramped condition, a lot of people in the same apartment. and that's also a very high risk factor for the spread of TB.
Every morning we start by going to Bruceny and the baker there, and he gives us, we get loaves of bread from there, 14 loaves of bread for the day, and afterwards we go to 2 local businesses to their cantinas, and when they finish serving, we go there and get the leftovers. One of them is the biggest company in Greenland, and we get both from their main offices and from the factory itself. The challenge when we go on to work is to look at what we got of leftovers and say, what can we do with this? But up till now, I don't think we've ever hit something that people didn't like. One of the families coming, the mother comes during the week and gets food home, and then she writes kindly on Facebook, "Thank you, now we're all full," which has not always been the case before she came and asked the army for help. One point we were fortunate that a company donated some cereals for us, and she just came the next day and asked if she wanted cereal. And she said, "Can I have cereal? I have to say to my children each morning, this is how much you get," and she showed me, and they go to school still hungry because she just didn't have enough food for them, and so very practically, yes, that's where it starts. We do dream about the Salvation Army here, a lot of workers, and the workers will be either coming in, but one of the things we say to the people who come to our people, this is at your place, so you're the one who presents it, and another thing we say to our people is that if the Salvation Army in the future is going to make any sense in Greenland, you need to be the Salvation Army. And that's a challenge we try to put in front of people all the time. But there are so many things. We would love to have the Salvation Army run a hostel where instead of just giving people a bed, also giving them counseling and help to get on in their life, making plans for how do I get on in my life.
Jette Skoff is the manager of Redesign, an initiative that upcycles and transforms unwanted clothes into exclusive, high-quality products. In collaboration with others, she's exploring how to develop an artisan craft program in Greenland.
These last few days I've been around Nuuk to talk to the other NGOs, Kofoed and the Red Cross, but to talk to them about working together with the social vulnerable people in Greenland. We want to kind of use their craftsmanship and their know-how in that regard to help them regain self-esteem and maybe do some small pieces, and we can make some money for the charity work we're doing here in Greenland. I've seen them do stone, like fur from seal. I've seen them knit and do pearls, all the things that we know from Greenland. And it's amazing that even though a person is, in our eyes, far out, has a lot of social problems, that kind of skill they have kept. They still have their craftsmanship and they find pride and joy in that. We are hoping that some of the people would like to come to the Salvation Army in a form of craftsmanships, collaboration where we work together and they get some self-esteem, maybe get a little money for it, and they make these lovely things for us to sell. If we want a scheme like that to work, we need to work together with the other NGOs because, for instance, we don't have materials, the Red Cross does, and we don't really know how to start it off, the Kofoed does. So we need to kind of learn from them, work together with them, and we can bring in something new because we've already started back in Denmark using recycling materials. So we can kind of bring that to the table. So I'm convinced that we can do something really good here.
we would love to see the Salvation Army planted around Greenland. It's difficult because every little town is isolated. You cannot drive from one town to another. You need either to take the boat or to fly, so it's both hard and expensive. It's definitely what I'm dreaming about, settling in, establishing the Salvation Army in East Greenland, where the need is so great. Pray that the Spirit of the Lord is the Spirit that helps people in their everyday life, and pray for a sense of commitment to that people just give themselves over to the Lord. That's the main thing, and if possible, give themselves over to become Salvationists and be the Salvation Army even more.
As I said earlier, I have visited Salvation Army in Høje Ringsvej several times, and we always sing, and even if I don't sing that well, I sing with them, and I see with my own eyes how much it means. Even you have not very good daily life, when you sing together and when you pray together, I can see some kind of energy growing in every single person or being there. It strengthens them inside, and it's very important because they are affected by many personal problems, and to be able to address them and find some solutions, you have to be strong inside. So I can see they get this strengthness in the Salvation Army.
The Salvation Army's work in Greenland is all about what the Salvation Army is all about, because the Salvation Army was born on the streets, for the people on the streets, and that is exactly what is happening here. It is the Salvation Army's DNA at its best.